When I look back, there was never someone that I sort of aspired to be. I had a book from the Royal Geographical Society called Explorers, and there wasn't a single woman in there. So I started researching, and there are lots everywhere.
Like, why haven't I heard about this woman? Why do I only know about men who travelled back in the day and wrote books about it? So yeah, I was just really inspired by her story and her bravery that she managed to go and do that. And I thought, actually, I can take a little bit of that from her and try and share this story and show that women can be in this space as well and get out and have adventures.
Women have been exploring, travelling and breaking boundaries in exploration spaces for centuries, and yet hundreds of them haven't been given a chance to break into the mainstream and be remembered by the public. Tales of survival, strength and ambition, all lost to time, and yet today, we're talking to a woman who's making sure these women are no longer lost to the history books. Lise Wortley, explorer, writer, speaker and founder of the project Women with Altitude. A project dedicated and built to empower individuals through the stories of pioneering women adventurers. She recently made her debut documentary, The Bride of Mont Blanc, which details her journey retracing the steps of Henriette d'Angeville. She wants to inspire a new generation of women and girls to get out and learn about all the incredible individuals who have paved the way for women to explore today. Lise started her journey by reading a book by Alexandra David Neal, which kickstarted her interest in women explorers.
Yeah, so I found a book when I was 16, actually, by this woman called Alexandra David Neal, and I read it and I was just so amazed by what she'd sort of managed to achieve back at a time when women didn't really do that sort of thing. And I read the book when I was 16, and she goes on this journey for like 14 years across Asia.
David Neal famously also said that she vowed to show what the will of a woman can do, which heavily influenced and informed a lot of Lisa's journey and progression as an explorer.
I absolutely love that quote. I use it quite a lot because even to say that back then in sort of 1910 was quite a wild thing to do, to be that sort of openly feminist in that way. So I just think that quote still can inspire so many people today because they don't see themselves, young girls and women don't see themselves represented in this space on the telly or actually in media. I mean, it's slowly changing, but I think quotes like that you kind of pull out can be so inspiring for people today, just to know that women have always been in this space and that there is a place for you out there. And I always say, you don't have to go on a crazy big adventure like I have. You can just walk around the park and know that you can have an adventure that way.
Lise does not just recreate the journeys of women, but also recreates them with the exact same clothing and equipment that they would have had at the time of their journeys. Could you tell us why you go through that process rather than simply using modern-day equipment?
I wear the clothes that these women had at the time, and that started because I wanted to show how difficult their journeys were, because they never would write in their writing, kind of how cold they were, or if they were scared, or if they were uncomfortable, because they wanted to be taken seriously, so you didn't talk about that sort of thing back then.
Other than wearing the clothes of past explorers, Lise also puts a big emphasis on attaining solely female film and mountain guide crews. Could you explain why this is an important focus for you?
Yeah, I think just from getting deeper and deeper into this space, so Karen, the guide from France, she told me that only 2% of mountain guides in France are women. That's 2%, and that's crazy. So when you look deeper into it, you're thinking, why? Like, why are women not in this space? And for me, I think these stories have been missing, so girls don't feel like they're allowed to go there, or they don't see themselves there. So I guess that's the main reason, like you said, to keep the whole team women, is to support women in that space, but also to show that you can do that and you can employ women and they can thrive in these spaces. And I guess you guys know, sort of in the film world as well, it's obviously, hopefully it's changing now, but still very sort of male dominated, and it's just kind of making sure not only I'm supporting women in this space, but people looking at it can see, oh, that's really cool. Like, Grace has gone up the mountain with all her camera kit. Because I always say, I'm in the old stuff, but Grace and Amy, who filmed it, was carrying all this equipment in their bags. So it was just as tough for them. And it's kind of showing, women can do this and they can be in that space. And yeah, just women. There's something magical as well about being in a group of women in the mountains. There's always endless, no matter how tough it is, you've always got each other's back and you're always laughing, and yeah, it's just something magical about it.
I prefer climbing with women. 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 I prefer climbing with wo when you climb with women, at least no one can say that, oh, those men are bringing you to the Maldives.
Yeah.
Which is what I got a lot when I used to climb with a male partner.
It's just sort of history repeating itself. Hearing their stories today really back this up, so I think that makes it even more important that projects like this and films like this are being made. It's so inspiring, and actually today there's still a big gap in the adventure space, which is mainly where I am. Like I always say to people, can you guys think of a woman on telly who's like an adventurer?
Most of the female explorers have been partially or completely forgotten by the general public, and allowing them to disappear feels like a disservice for all the work they did for the exploration community and female explorers. How do you think the exploration community can do more for these women?
Yeah, I think just so many people in this space. I think for me it's more about, I started kind of looking to the past, looking to these women, but now I kind of really focus on the future and the space and how we open it up. And it's not just women, it's different communities, not always represented kind of in this space. And I think it's just hoping that people, you know, if a load of guys are going out filming something instead of just using their mate to film, maybe think, oh, is there a woman I could employ, or is there someone from a different background that I could try and get involved? And I think it's just trying to change it in that way slowly and making people think that, you know, everyone needs to be welcome and given a chance in this space. So I guess that's kind of what I'm hoping.
And how do you feel you are honouring them as a female explorer yourself?
It's interesting today, isn't it? Because we have all these platforms like Instagram. As much as we love it and hate it, it is very good for sharing stories and making films and podcasts about them. So I guess I'm giving them this kind of, like, not life, because they had a lot of life anyway, but platforms that they didn't have at the time, so more people can find out about their work. So I'm hoping I'm kind of honouring them that way. I'm hoping they'd be happy with what I'm doing. And yeah, just getting their stories out there to give people a different perspective on things. And I know it sounds cheesy, but to inspire people, and lots of people are inspired by them. So yeah, just making sure their stories don't get buried again, like a lot of them have in the past. And yeah, just making sure they're still chatted about and spoken about.
Lise has already completed 7 expeditions, experiencing, researching and retracing the footsteps of 7 incredibly important women in the exploration spaces, yet I can imagine she isn't just done yet. Are there any explorers who you want to follow in the footsteps of but haven't had the opportunity to?
Yeah, so this year actually was an anniversary of the first woman who cycled around the world, 130 years since she did it. But I was doing the Mont Blanc stuff, so I missed that. But I still want to try and do that next year. So she was called Annie Londonderry, and I'd say circumnavigated the globe because she took ferries and stuff wherever possible. So she did the smallest bits of landmass possible, but still she cycled across Europe and across like India. I think this was in 1879. So imagine what a bike looks like now, and then imagine that bike then. And all she took was one little bag that she put on the handlebars, and then she was in this huge corset that eventually she cut up into trousers and stuff because she couldn't cycle in it, but no gears. She went through the Alps. I'm like, how? And that was the thing, I kind of question, how did she do it? She must have pushed it a lot. So I'd love to try and recreate that. So that's the next challenge, is to get the funding for that, to try and do and find an old bike. So yeah, maybe that's the next one.
Finally, who of the many explorers that you've looked into would you say was your favourite?
Women of all different like categories. There's like pilots and climbers. So I love Bessie Coleman. She's like the first Black American pilot, and she's got this incredible story. But I think my ultimate favourite is probably Dorothy Pilley, who most people have never heard of, but she's a climber from the UK. So she's actually born in Camberwell, just down the road. Then I think she moved to the Lake District, but she just started climbing with her husband. This was in like 1914 or something like that. And she just became this incredible, like prolific climber. And she went all across Europe doing first descents of all these like really, really hard routes. Climbed some of these really difficult routes at a time when they would just tie little ropes around their waists and climb in like little shoes with heels. So the fact that she managed to do it, and it was at a time when, especially with the Alpine Club, it was very male dominated back then, and if a woman climbed a route, the men would go, oh, if a woman's done it, then it can't be that difficult, we just won't bother. So she was climbing at a time when that was you know, the attitude towards it, but still she carried on and did all these incredible things. And I just love it because she's from the UK, and I think there's so many women that I've found from the UK. I want to do a whole series on them that, again, no one's ever heard of. Yeah. But they're super inspiring, and they should be on our stamps and on our money. But they're not. So yeah, maybe Dorothy, but I don't know. Yeah, there's still a lot of women who are really cool and adventurous and did these amazing things, like especially climbers and things like that. But yeah, that I was never taught about, never heard about.
In conclusion, women have been exploring the world and have been trying to push boundaries for a long time. And Lise is one more of those explorers. She's bringing attention to individuals who could have faded with time, yet with her help, bravery, and desire to inspire the next generation of explorers, Lise is cementing herself as an explorer telling the tales of those who can't tell theirs anymore. A constant reminder of the importance of these stories and why they matter to young people today.